They keep trying to reform our neighborhoods from the top down. It's never going to work. It has to come from the ground up in order for us to have the kind of success that we can keep.
So everybody seems to agree that charter schools has been a positive innovation, that it's, you know, the results are in and they seem to be outperforming their neighborhood counterparts. But only 6% of CPS students, of the 400,000 kids in CPS, get access to a charter school.
Absolutely.
So if it's good enough for 6%, why isn't it good enough for the other 94%? What the next mayor should do, and Gary Chico has proposed a kind of a very small step in this process of extending choice to 50,000 kids. What the next mayor should do is change the way money flows and who gets to make spending decisions, to put money in the hands of parents to allow them to choose their child's education rather than being relegated to neighborhood schools that we know will fail them.
I am a great supporter of quality, universally available public education. And the reason is that if we move in the direction of the selective enrollment, the lottery systems, the vouchers and charter schools, if we move in that direction, we've essentially thrown in the towel on our ability to create middle class in this country. Public education is what created the middle class. It's what creates opportunity for everybody. And when you start tracking off and spinning off the best performing students into specialty schools that only they can get into, what you have is everybody else left behind.
So vouchers and lotteries shouldn't exist? I mean, are you saying that you're against school choice?
I'm against vouchers, absolutely. And in terms of charter schools, if somebody, you know, it's just like a private school. If somebody wants to start a private school, good on them. No problem. You know, if somebody wants to start a charter school, I don't even have a problem with that, so long as it is, you know, held to the same accountability standards as public education does. But to siphon off money out of public education to support these private efforts, all it does is limit our ability to provide for quality education for everybody else. And so the public schools wind up saddled, to use for lack of a better word, with everybody else, with whoever's left behind. And that's a sure step in the direction of destroying public education.
I want to continue to provide as many academic options for students as possible. But we need to strengthen our neighborhood schools. That's where most of our kids are. They're in the neighborhood schools. You know, last year we had 13,000 high school students apply for 3,000 slots. So where did the other 10,000 go? They're in the neighborhoods. Some of them have dropped out of school. And so it is important that we strengthen the neighborhood schools and that families don't have to be faced with that decision of having to look all over the city for a quality educational program because they don't have confidence in the school down the block from where they live. And as a parent, that's one of the most important decisions you make, where you send your kids to school. So we need to strengthen those neighborhood schools.
Charter schools, selective enrollment, vouchers, you either love them or you hate them, but everyone agrees something has to be done to improve neighborhood schools. This is imperative if Chicago is to be a world-class city.
One of the issues that I keep coming across is the lack of parental involvement in a number of these neighborhood schools. And if you engage the parents and the parents learn what it is to be their child's first teacher, not their second teacher, but their first teacher. And we begin to work with parents at a very early age when the child is in preschool, and they begin to develop the kinds of parenting skills that are needed to help that child, to nurture that child along the way. Then you can break into that cycle of poverty, and you can really make a difference in the lives of.
We positively have to fix our schools so locate and live here because they won't have to pick up that extra $25,000 a year paying for their child's education. And then finally, we got to restore the residency requirements that just recently got beat up in the courts because if we lose police and fire and teachers to the outlying areas, we can just kiss our tax base goodbye.
Is Rahm Emanuel really a resident? The Illinois Supreme Court says yes, and he has the supporters in the city, in Hollywood, his brother, and of Presidents Clinton and Obama. He's a shoo-in. Maybe, maybe not.
What in God's name is going on, Emily McKendall? I mean,
Here's my issue with the whole thing. Nobody pays attention to why Rahm is not taking part in the debates. And the reason they're not letting Rahm in the debates is because they're afraid of his volatile temper. They don't want him to do or say anything that might be misconstrued, looked at. So when you get Patricia and Van Pelt Watkins and Carol Moseley Braun in the room, there's emotions that are flying.
Okay, so you're referring to the debates, not the ones that are televised, but the ones that are held in community offices and churches, etc.
Right, and Rahm Emanuel even did push breakfast. He wouldn't even participate in the debates at push breakfast.
He wasn't at Trinity. He didn't show up at the debate where I moderated at Corliss High School on the south side.
Right.
So he's avoiding these on purpose. You think the press has a responsibility?
Well, I think it's his people that are stopping him from participating in the debates, because we all know about his reputation of being, one, a bully, and two, having a volatile temper. So I believe that he is not participating in these debates, and nobody's paying attention to it, simply because they don't want him, quote unquote, going off the handle.
I want kids to be given the skills they need to be successful independent adults, and that is not happening in CPS right now. But Rahm Emanuel is an implementation tool. He is not an executive. That's what he has been all his career, an implementation tool for somebody else. Gary Chico, on the other hand, has been the school board president of CPS, and during those 6 years that he was, we advanced charter schools to introduce some competition, to give some parents some choice, to make the system better, at least have some more options. Now, CPS has a long way to go, and I don't agree with everything Gary Chico has said, but at least he's been heading up these agencies, and he has advanced policies that I think move the flag.
Should Bill Doc Walls and Patricia Watkins, should they drop out of the race? They're polling at under 10%. Should they just leave it alone, or are they the conscience of this race?
I want to say they're the conscience of this race. I really do. I think they have a right to run, and if they feel like they have a voice and they need their voice to be heard, they should have the opportunity. That's what we're about.
And yeah, they're still on the ballot, but according to the latest ABC 7 poll, Walls and Watkins are splitting 3% of the vote, while Emanuel is running away with 54%. But polls are questionable, so you make the decision. I asked 4 candidates, why you?
I carry the voices of the residents in Chicago within me. I mean, I don't have to get a poll to find out what people are thinking about. I talk about the issues people are concerned about because I live among them, and I know I have solutions because they've grown up. I've grown up with these solutions among the people.
I am truly the neighborhood's candidate, and I have a vision for the city. A vision for the city that calls for the development of neighborhoods throughout the city through organizing and through resources and through making sure that city government becomes much more responsive to the neighborhoods as it is becoming more efficient and as it is being reformed, because I am the reform candidate.
I ask people to vote their interests. Vote what's best for you. And if you feel like everything's going right and it's hunky-dory and things are fine in Chicago, vote for one of those other guys. If you, on the other hand, believe that we can have better quality education, we can have job creation in the neighborhoods because government helps and not hinders and oppresses private business. If you believe that the streets can be safer, then vote for me, because I have a program and a plan and the capacity and the ability and the experience to do the job and to make this city work for everybody.
I'm the only person who has real ideas. I'm the thinking person's candidate. Anybody can follow the sheep. And I have a program to create 100,000 self-perpetuating private sector jobs using our capital improvement program. It's an $8.5 billion spending program that addresses capital projects which develop or maintain assets with a long economic life. There are 4 areas of capital improvement concentration: economic development, education, transportation, and city infrastructure. We typically focus on the city infrastructure. I will focus on economic development and jobs creation.
We definitely don't need sheep for voters in this election. It is crucial that you exercise your privilege to cast a ballot for the candidate of your choice. You need to survey your choices and vote your interests. Believing in your candidate means nothing if you don't vote in bold fashion. Hey, give me a call and tell me what's going on in your world. We may play your voice on the next show. The number is 773-487-1358. Send me a message by email. Contact us at off63rd.com. Hit the website at off63rd.com. Hey, that's Off 63rd for tonight. Join us next Thursday. Stay positive. I need you to keep your head up and always be encouraged.